You're listening to NFT 365, the first daily podcast on NFTs with your host, Fanzo, talking crypto, blockchain, Web3, non-fungible tokens, metaverse, and...
What the f*** is a non-fungible token?
We'll get to that.
What's up, friends? Welcome back to another episode of NFT 365. And there's a lot of conversation around how do we get the attention of that Web3 community? How do we grow our NFT projects? Or maybe should we say, how do we promote all of the awesome things that we have going on? And I've been a part of some really cool Twitter spaces recently where we've been, kind of breaking down the difference between building a brand and marketing, or what is the difference between an influencer collaboration partnership and promotion. And I think in Web3, it even takes a whole other different angle because a lot of our typical advertising plays aren't the same in this space, right? We aren't able to advertise. And let's face it, there's also been some massive changes to advertising as a whole. We could credit Apple for completely ruining the way that we target because of the limiting of sharing of data across apps and some of the things that they've rolled out recently. So we're going to talk a little bit about promotions. How do they factor into this space? What are the ways that we can do them right? What are some of the things that I see doing well, and some of the things that I think we all should avoid? Before we get there, we definitely got a shout out to our sponsor, Crypto Business Conference. You're looking to level up on all things Web3, NFTs, Metaverse, Creator Coins, and more. Definitely check out the Crypto Business Conference. I'll tap into a little bit more about that at the end of the podcast. As we are inside 90 days, my friends, we are inside 90 days to the end of season one, or should I just say, the end of the chapter one before we, go on. And we're buying an NFT every day for a year, and I want to do a little bit of a throwback, all the way back to what we minted number 77. Yes, my friends, all the way back on July 27th. I know some people didn't even know what the word NFT was back in July 27th, and you might be better off for it because it was a little bit of a wild times. But I actually found a tweet where back then, way back when, I was actually sharing out publicly like the 3 or 4 projects that I was considering to mint on each day. And on the day that we minted this project back on January 27th, it was like a week before the Super Bowl. I remember it pretty clearly. I was comparing a couple projects, and I really loved this women-led project that had an artist. Like, she tweeted out this video of her creating the art, and I remember being just like blown away on how talented she was from an artist perspective. And then they had a commitment to growing not only the artist community, but supporting fellow artists in the same kind of genre of art. And, a lot of projects during these times, right, we've mentioned this a lot on the podcast, a lot of projects during these times have not done a great job of continuing to build or continuing to give their community a reason to care. And the reason I wanted to give Sacred Skulls a shout out and highlight that we minted them, way back when, well, first of all, it makes me feel good that when we have great projects like this that are still alive and still doing some great things. But they actually just launched something called Skulls Fest. And they're calling it the Skulls of Web3 Unite. And they're doing a massive Twitter space collaboration with 10 other NFT projects. Now, they didn't pay for the promo. I'm not part of this Skulls Fest, but the reason I'm highlighting it is right now is a great time for projects and people and this community to find like your tribe, co-create, collaborate, bring these worlds together. And I will say, like, the reason that, Sacred Skulls was actually brought back onto my radar was actually thanks to Crypto Tech Women. Crypto Tech Women put together an amazing Twitter space this past Sunday, and they involved me on it. And one of the team members from Sacred Skulls was there. Just a great, community of conversation around marketing and Web3. But it also turned me back on to Skulls Fest. And the cool thing is we have Gigi, the founder and artist behind Crypto Tech Women, coming up on the podcast very soon. And that's kind of how this world works, right? I was invited on a Twitter space for them. It reminded me of a project that we bought back in January. I was able to tap back in with that team and recognize that they're doing some really cool things still today. And that's what this space is all about. You don't have to be, spending all your marketing dollars or, dropping, derivative projects or, giving away tons of ETH to actually keep your project relative during these times. It's about, like collaboration, community, giving people access. So shout out to sacred_skulls on Twitter. Definitely check out Skulls Fest, 1 p.m. Eastern time, August 16th. If you're listening to this after August 16th, yeah, just give them a check out. They are number 77 in our collection. And the last thing I just want to mention, we are doing a virtual masterclass series. For those that are interested, we're doing a Web3 virtual masterclass series. There's going to be one in August, 2 in September that you can sign up for. The one in August is all around security and keeping yourself safe. So it's about security from like what NFT projects and smart contracts need to think about for security, but also security from how do we protect ourselves with multiple wallets and in that scenario. If you want to check them out, you can check them out on our website. You can also jump in our Discord. We do have a promo code for anyone that is interested in that. We'll put the promo code in the show notes below if you want to jump in and take advantage of that. The first one is on security. The second one is on Twitter. And the third one is about that Web 2 to Web 3 digital transformation, which you're definitely going to be hearing more from me on. All right, so that's enough of me promoting what we have going on. Now let's talk promoing or promotions, right? And I said in a past episode, and I got some people on Twitter to kind of push back a little bit. I said that nobody wants to be sold to or marketed at. And the truth is, I don't really back down from that statement. I actually do believe that, it's the case. Now, do we want to be presented things that we need in an easy way for us to buy them? Hell yes. I mean, the amount of things I buy off of Instagram ads is kind of ridiculous. Like, I can tell you, the hat that I wore on yesterday's podcast episode, I was just browsing Instagram and it came up my feed. I was like, I want that, right? And it was like 2 clicks and I purchased it. I didn't even have to leave Instagram. So the idea of we don't want to be sold or marketed to doesn't factor in really the idea of we want to be presented information or products or services that solve our problem. But here's the magic, and this is the magic that I think the theme of this episode. Anyone can promote in real time, right? Which means anyone can push out promos and giveaways on Twitter, or Instagram or whatever those type of promos are. But promoting at the right time, in real time, to the right audience is, I believe, the magic, and I believe that's where most are missing the mark. And what I mean by missing the mark is that if you are, collaborating with someone or hiring an influencer to promo your project, what you need to ask yourself is, how much trust does that person have with their audience, and what are the behaviors or the type of projects that their audience values? Because there's a big difference between promoting something to achieve a vanity goal versus promoting something to reach an audience that you want to shrink the amount of time it takes to build trust. So this is how I think of promos in my view, right? Now, a lot of the promotional things that people are doing right now, it's like follow these 2 accounts and then retweet it and tag a couple of your friends. Now, I know for some people that seems like very over the top and you don't want to do it, but there has to be some ways that it's not botted. And there also has to be some kind of ways for people to, you don't want to just give away something just for giving it away sake, right? There's a reason that you're teaming up with that person, or there's a reason that you're giving away a slot or whatever that may be. And I think it's very important to not make the requirements ridiculously difficult, but I do think you need a barrier to entry because you do want to pre-qualify people. One of the things that I will tell you that, I really like, and we haven't seen much of this done yet, is I actually like people applying to get on an allow list, or applying to get early access, or applying to get a discounted rate based on how much they value that specific project. And you might be like, well, how does that connect to the promo conversation? Well, the promo conversation comes down to, you don't have to just promo the fact that the mint date's coming, or promo a free whitelist spot, or promo a giveaway NFT. You can promo unique, ways that your project's doing something different. And this is where I think the NFT space has got it wrong. I think majority of promotions that are paid for or not even paid for, right, are done from the place of, we need to sell out. Please promote that our mint is live. But I'm going to ask you something. The people that jump into a project without DYODR, right, without doing their own damn research, for the most part, people are going to jump into projects in that manner because the person that's promoting it is trusted and they can believe they can get in and make some money on it, or because it's a free project and they don't have to do any research. Like, I am guilty of that. I know some of you probably are guilty as well. When someone tells me, Brian, this is a great project and it's minting for free, there's not a chance that I do the same amount of research that I do for a project that even is at 0.03, let alone 0.08 or 0.1 Ethereum, right? Or, whatever. You could do 5 of Solana. And so that's a very important component here. The other question I have is that if you are promoting something and the requirement is to join your Discord needs to have something when they arrive that gets them to stay there beyond the promo. Like, I mean, we've all done it. We have to admit it. I've participated in promos that as soon as the qualification was done and they're like, thank you, I go back and undo the things that I was asked to do, right? I leave the server and I unfollow the Twitter account because I didn't think they have value, but I wanted a chance to win whatever it was that it wins. So the way that we have to rethink about this is, if I'm going to send someone to somewhere or I'm going to ask them to do something, we need to build on top of that. And I think that is one of the hardest things. I'm guilty of it as well. I think, it's a little bit beyond just strategic marketing, right? Like, I look at great marketers as those that get people to a place for great salespeople to close them. And in many cases, we can even set up a great promo, but if we're not closing them, and when I say closing, it doesn't mean having to get them to execute on a sale, but if we're not building them and like hooking them in, we're actually wasting that promo. And so I think we're going to see more promos that are going to involve podcasts, more promos that are going to involve YouTube videos. Like, imagine this, right? Rather than promoting someone to follow your Twitter account, which I don't even know what the percentage of tweets are that we see. I don't even know what that is. Maybe 15% of the tweets that we're following we see. But imagine if you're saying, the promo is for them to subscribe to your YouTube channel and comment on your most recent video. Well, now you're getting them to subscribe there. Well, whatever video you launch next there's going to be an email that's pushed out to everyone that's a new subscriber. That email, that video that is next, should build on the type of audience that you just promoted onto your YouTube channel, right? You see how we're building that up? What I see done wrong most of the time is that there is a promo to get me to join the Discord, and yet the Discord is just running like it's normally running, and I feel like out of touch. Like, imagine if the promo was to get new people into your Discord, and then the first thing they see on there is, here's your new guide to understanding Discord for us and the entry point to our project, right? Like, so you're giving them, like, you're telling them, hey, new people, go into Discord. And then when they get there, you're like, hey, new people, we're going to help you here. And at the end, we're going to say, hey, rest of the community, welcome these new people that have gone through this process. Well, now all of a sudden, you've welcomed me into a community that's already established, and that promo feels like it was worth it. I'm not going to go back and leave the server or unsubscribe. And the reason this is like so important and so valuable is that there is a ton of fake promos going on. Like, well, when we ask the question, like, how do some of these accounts get 100,000 followers on them when they're spam accounts or they're putting out bad links? Do you know how they do that? They make claims like, I just sold this Bored Ape for $170 million. I'm going to give away 10 ETH to every single person, to one person that retweets and follows this account. Well, what happens? 4,000 people follow that account and retweet it, right? They delete that tweet in a week or two. Nobody even remembers why they followed that account. And now that Twitter account has a massive following. They can now sell that Twitter account to some bot farm, and now that Twitter account's been bought up. So, like, the question then becomes, if that's how the bad people, we can just call them bad people, how the scammers are using promos, how can we stand out? Well, one of the other ways of doing this is being transparent and making your promo giveaways not overly long or too elaborate. Like, I think one of the things you have to think about is if someone signs up for a promo, they should also feel as though they're going to understand who wins it and when. And maybe that's up to you, right? Maybe it's like turn on notifications for this Twitter account for the next 24 hours. The winner will be tweeted out in the next 24 hours, right? Like, so now we're giving them not only a reason to subscribe, but now we're asking them to turn on notifications. Now, if we turn on notifications and we tweet 40 times before we announce that winner, we've done more of a harm than we have good. It's why I never liked promos, for the most part, in Web 2 that were sign up for an email newsletter, because most people were then inundated with email newsletter. And you know what would happen? We've all been there, right? We look at that email, we're like, how the hell did I sign? How did I end up on this newsletter? Like, there's no way I signed up for it. Well, what happened was you probably signed up for some promo that you never even knew who the winner was, and that they didn't send out an email for another month. And all of a sudden they think because you're on it that it's worthwhile. And you know what I do with those? I hit unsubscribe and block. So when someone tells me, Brian, well, the worst case of scenario, if someone signs up for an email subscriber and then we spam them, they just unsubscribe. Wrong. The worst case scenario is if we do a promo badly, or we waste people's time, or we don't capture their, value their attention, they will unsubscribe and block us, and we will lose them from getting in their feed ever again. And it's just the truth, right? So I think promotions versus partnerships, right? I think a partnership is something longer term, right? Promo is more of a shorter term win, something that we're kind of adding to that. But I also think something that we have to recognize is that if you are promoting a project, or if you're listening to someone that promotes a project, we have to do a little bit of research on that person. Like in a weird way, if you research the hell out of a person that does promos, you probably have to do less research on what they're promoting. Because if you trust them to not take every project that exists, or not promote every single thing, or not do 5 promos a day, because you went and did their research, you understand who they are and what they value and the type of projects that they align with, well, it kind of shortcuts the system. The last thing I want to say about promos is that they're not going away anytime soon. I heard people talking about this on Twitter the other day. They're like, well, these influencer promos are going to go away. Wrong, because guess what? We're going to have new people coming into this space for the next 3 years, and it's going to be a slow drip. Mass adoption is not happening. I like focusing on growth adoption, which means how do we get the people that are in here right now to help us grow by getting their friends and their family and people in their Web 2 communities to join. The thing about that, though, is for all the new blood that comes into this space is new opportunity for spammers and promos to get in front of them. So what I think we need to do is we need to work on setting the culture on what great promos are and celebrating those and resetting the bar. The other part of this is transparency, right? If we don't know why someone is promoting something or what they're getting in return, it's not only is it against FCC guidelines, but it is something that, in my opinion, ruins credibility. Like Jake Paul promoted that one project. It was 2 months ago. We found out he received $147,000 in ETH to promote that one tweet. And guess what? He didn't even disclose on that tweet that he was paid, or there was a financial agreement, or it was a promo. Now, one could argue it's kind of on brand for Jake Paul, and I like the Paul brothers. They know how to capture attention. It's kind of like, for my generation, it's kind of like Jackass in a way. Like, they know what they're doing, they know who they are, they know who their audience is. But I think for the majority of other people that are out there, and I will tell you, here's the truth. If you ever see me supporting another influencer, which I do fairly often, I am watching their wallet when the projects that they're minting. So if they're talking about a project, any project, right? And I see them promoting it, I add their wallet that if and for the most part, I know where most of their wallets are. I could find their .eth address. And I watch to see how many they mint or how many they're airdropped or how they support that project. Because that, for me, is my due diligence. Because I'm not going to support, I'm not going to amplify, I'm not going to celebrate anyone or any person on my channels and my alignment with my brand unless I do my research on them. Like, I take so much pride and care into who we talk about here on the podcast. Like, I don't want to lead, like, I can't guarantee anything. And of course, this is not financial advice, and I do preach doing your own damn research. But at the same time, it it pains me if someone that I talk about or promote or I celebrate or I'm sharing a story about a person or a project or another podcast, and if they aren't who they say they are, and that is determined, that bothers me. But here's the truth. It also doesn't bother me to the sense of I know at the time I did my research, that I did my very best. And I hope, for you, the audience, you understand that and respect that. But here's the truth. There are a lot of people in my position that don't do that. And they've got away with it for years upon years. They've got away with the fact that they don't spend much time researching the people that they're aligned with. And then whenever those people screw them over, they just spread FUD and they bury them and they try to publicly shame them because they think that makes them look better. You won't see me doing that because guess what? I live and learn, and I recognize that some people are bad people. Some people can trick people, and some people change. But I also am very confident in the due diligence that I do. And so for anyone that is creating a project, ask the people that if you're going to, before you pay someone to promote your project, before you go into one of those agreements, ask them what other projects do you promote and what is their what is their criteria that they judge against. I will tell you, I turn down 99% of the promos that are presented to me. Now, I don't turn down 100% because I should be getting money, and if you want access to an audience that trusts me, I should be able to monetize that. I don't take any shame in that. But I will tell you that if I'm going to do my research and make sure that they're aligned. And I also take pride in sometimes it's a great project with a great promo, but I don't think my audience is going to care about it. And if it's not mutually beneficial, if I can't help them accomplish their goal, I'm also not going to sign up for it. And so if you're going to hire an influencer or talk to a partner or a Twitter space host, find out who they turn down. Because if they don't turn down anyone, my guess is they're not doing enough due diligence, and they're probably not right for your brand or your project to align with. Lastly, of course, I did mention, we do have a sponsor of the podcast, Crypto Business Conference. You can check them out at socialmediaexaminer.com/NFT365. Lots of great things happening at the event. I know that the speaker lineup is being finalized right now. So if you want to jump over there just to check out some of the speakers, a great lineup of really talented people to help us on all aspects of the Web3 space, right? It is, it is a wide gamut. And the beauty of it is a single track event. It is also an event that has, a networking lounge set up for you there at the San Diego Convention Center. And I'm going to be there with our team. Beyond excited to get to know some of you a little bit better. Maybe do some handshakes and hugs with some people that I haven't been able to meet yet. But hopefully I will see you there in San Diego in October. Lastly, I want to leave you with this. In this kind of like Web3 early adoption phase, it's very easy for us to argue or to disagree on how certain terms or things are presented, right? I know there's a lot of people that argue about what's the difference between marketing and PR, or what is the difference between marketing and branding? And I understand there are nuances between these things, but I think what comes down to it is let's actually just start focusing on what are the problems and the solutions. Like, I don't care if it's marketing or branding or PR. If I have this problem and one of them solve it and I have a solution, that's what we need to focus on. And the place that I still think that goes wrong here, and I know some of you listening to this, if you've called me up and you wanted to sponsor or you wanted me to advise on your project, you'll hear me say, what does success look like for you? And then what does success look like for you partnering with us or you bringing me on board as an advisor? And if you don't have a clear definition of what success looks like, how are we ever going to determine or make sure that this partnership or this promo agreement is aligned and that we are both going to feel like we are accomplishing the goals? Now, I will tell you the flip side of that is I don't play very well in exact rules. I know my audience better than every brand and every marketer does, and they know their brand better than I do. Therefore, we should be able to meet in the middle if we have a clear definition of success. And each of us should be able to define goals and then let each other go make it work, right? If you tell me the goals of what we're able to achieve, you don't need to tell me how many tweets I need to send out. You don't need to tell me what are the things that I need to do. I can tell you this. If I know the goals, I will make sure to accomplish those goals, and I will craft the messages, the videos, the tweets, the graphics to make all of that happen. Now, that's not the case for all creators. Some creators just want to do what the brands tell them, but I would also argue that's a very Web 2 stance of doing it. If you are a creator, if you are someone that is willing to promo something, you know what works better than everyone else. And if you don't, go reverse engineer things that worked, right? Like, what was your most successful tweet? What was the link that was clicked on the most? What is your target demographic, right? I can tell you we have 61% of the audience that listens to this podcast in the United States, right? We have 7% in the UK. I know that we have 6% in Canada. We also have 6% in Australia that are listening to this podcast. I know my demographics. I know my target audience. I know which podcast episodes work the best, which ones have yet to kind of grab on. And those are all things that make me better at defining success and mapping out the goals for who I work with. The magic is really there. And at the end of the day, I will say it again. I will say it over and over again. There is no brand. There is no project. There is no amount of money that could be thrown my way for me to do a promo that would jeopardize the trust and the really connection that I have with my audience. Because the truth is, it takes a long time to build up trust, and it takes one bad promo, one bad partnership to ruin that trust forever. I take that into massive account, and I hope everyone else does as well. Until tomorrow, my friends, make it a great day. Cheers.